Hi.
Hi, Jensen. We know you love to drive baby, so I wanted to know which scene was the most fun to drive for you?
Probably when I did the reverse 180 in the episode Baby. That was fun because I'd never gotten to do that with that car before, and I got to practice a couple times over lunch, and then did it about I did it 3 or 4 times for all the cameras. But it was pretty fun. In fact, I have actually, what they did is they mounted the camera right on the hood, and the window shield had been a window screen, right?
Yeah.
It's probably, what is it? Windscreen. That's the proper term for it. Anyway, it had been busted out because of the big fight in there, and so the windows were busted out. But what they did is they strapped down this camera onto the hood of the car, and I took my cell phone and taped it onto the camera and then hit record. So I've got this really cool video of it on my phone. Then because the camera was going to see 180 degrees, everybody had to run off the road. They were on the walkies like, okay, lock it up. We're going to roll sound, and everybody duck behind the trees and get behind this, or duck down and get out of the way. And so it was funny, like our camera assistant came over and they marked it with the slate, and then it was just like ants just scattering everywhere. And then it was just empty. Like the road was empty. There was nobody, which is really strange because I'm just so used to having so many crew people around. And our guest star was sitting next to me, and right as they had locked it all up and got everything ready, and I was, the car was running and the cameras were rolling and everything was good to go, and she looks at me and she goes, "You've done this before, right?" And I just looked at her. I was like, "Now's not a good time." And and then
Awesome.
that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I enjoyed that. There was another moment that was equally exhilarating, I would say, and that was the very first day of filming season 13, and it was so it was the first episode, but it was the moment where the brothers are riding in the Impala and they're just cruising down the road, and then they pull up to the Pirate Jacks or something, the last time that Jack was seen. So that very first day of filming, we shot that driving scene, and I knew that they'd used a lot of, there's this thing, there's an automobile that they've converted into a fully functioning camera mobile, essentially, where there's a crane on the top of it. And they used this a lot for Deadpool when they shot that in Vancouver. So I knew it existed, but we'd never worked with it on our show. And essentially, I was driving the Impala on this kind of winding mountainous road that had twists and turns and elevation changes. And I have this SUV with a giant crane mounted to the top of it with a driver, a director, an operator, a focus puller, and what else? And the crane operator, all in this car. And these guys are so good, they're stunt drivers, that as I was cruising along, they're coming within inches of my car. And the camera actually came, at one point the lens was in the window. Mind you, we're going 30 miles an hour, which may not seem fast, but when you've got a camera coming from the outside of the car into the window, and you're trying to constantly keep the exact speed so that they can adjust their speed, and there's elevation changes like this. That car's heavy, you get it on a downgrade, it starts to speed up, so I'm like lightly tapping the brakes to keep that speedometer on. And it was like, I was sweating bullets. And may I help you? All right, I'll wrap it up. And so anyway, I have to say lines and act and do that. I have to put a performance in while I'm doing all this, and the car's in front of me and behind me and beside me, and the camera's moving all over, and it's like sitting right on the front of the hood, and I'm driving 30 miles an hour. Meanwhile, Jared's like, what's my line? And I'm like, really? All you have to do is say your lines. I'm doing everything else. He's like, it's early, man. Oh, I wanted to throw him out of the car. All right, that's it for me. I'm gonna take Sandy and Brandy with me, because, who doesn't need a zoo of unicorns, right?
Hi guys, I'd like to continue my question on acting skills from this morning. Is there anything that you've been asked to learn that you haven't been able to do, or what is your favorite skill that you've been told to do?
Anything that I kind of refuse, and I don't know if it's just the competitive nature in me, I refuse to have them write something in the script that I can't do, or that I won't figure out how to do. I remember when they were like, oh, and then he has a reverse 180 in the Impala. I'm like, I've never done that. But I'm not gonna let my stunt double do it.
There we go. Hang on.
So I spent the whole hour of lunch learning how to do a reverse 180 in the Impala, which is, in a modern car, easier. In a 1967 tank, it's very, very heavy in the front, and that front end goes whoosh. So anyway, it took me a couple tries.
And the first day I got to work, it was kind of funny, but they'd call action, we'd say our lines, and I'd be like, I gotta do that again. Like, I don't remember how to act. And I felt so bad. Not that I ever knew.
And let me just tell you.
Don't. He has pockets in his shirt.
Okay, so this is like a hard-hitting question, okay? I need to know something. Do you two wake up looking pretty? Because you're from one angle, but you never take a bad picture, ever. And it takes me 20 times to take one angle. My eyes are open.
I mean, the short answer is yeah.
You have pockets in your shirt.
Best shirt ever. Too tired, you finally have it.
Pockets in your shirt. That's amazing.
Yeah,
You didn't want to tell me this, or like you just went.
no. Surprise!
Mother can't be saved.
If she sees that Dean shaved his leg for her, will that help?
Hard to say.
It's pretty smooth. Here, you can. It's okay. I'll touch it.
Sometimes in order to figure things out, a person needs space.
Sometimes he just mixes up his words.
I think y'all give us a lot of credit, and I'm very grateful for it. But I appreciate it. And you, from a distance, I'm sure. Bette Midler said it best. From a distance, I was quoting the song. I'm just gonna. They say you're quoting Bette Midler. Let's get back to the pockets on the show. The pockets threw me off. I'm so sorry. Thank you. I'm gonna get back on track.
Listen, just so you know, there's an entire trailer of highly skilled hair and makeup artists
Highly skilled makeup and hair.
that make us look the way we do on a daily basis.
No.
This just doesn't happen by itself. You know? I'm kidding, it does. All right.
I set myself up for that one.
I mean,
So,
it was too easy for me, you know.
but it was a sign. It was the first time I realized, for the first time in 13 seasons of Supernatural, that during a break, I was able to leave Supernatural. Like, the first episode of the season is always a little hairy because you've been off for 3 months. You're like, okay, where were we? We have to remember where we were in April when we were filming, and now it's July. I guess I'm trying to be a little bit, it's not specifically like if I do an episode where I'm angry, I don't go home angry, but I'm still kind of in the mindset of like, okay, I know this upcoming week, I have a stunt on Wednesday, so I need to make sure that I don't hurt my back, and I know I have this scene on Tuesday where I have a lot of dialogue that's not really connected to the other characters, so I need to memorize those lines, so they're in my head, so I'm express it on Tuesday. Thursday I have a late call, so that's the day I can take my dog to bed. Like so you're always thinking about it. It's just this week's sucked. Like this was we had a huge break, and this week was 5 full days. Like, you know, first shot of the day to last shot of the day, 13, 15 hours, whatever it was, nights, raining. It was just one of those crummy weeks. And it's hard to, you can't go home and go, like, oh, I'm going to play a video game, read a book. Like, we're still going, okay, God, what do I do tomorrow? I got to get ahead of the 8 ball, so I know what to do. So I think it stays with me, and then I'm in work mode. It's almost like, and we've said this before, but it's almost like if you're a football player or a basketball player, and it's halftime, you don't tweet, you know what I mean? You kind of stay in the room and go, okay, what do I do? What do I need to do? How do I perfect? How do I get better? So I think it does affect me. And Jen every now and then will be like, hey, it's all right. You know, like, take a breath. I don't stress out, blah, blah, blah. And remind me to be more present sometimes. Poor girl. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Let me just paint you a picture real quick. The first day back this season. If you go back and watch the first episode, the first thing that we did, day 1 back from our break, was the driving sequence of us in the car having a conversation.
Still have holy oil, right?
For what? We're gonna have to hit him with everything we got.
Hold on a second. Can we just talk about what happened back there?
Sure, which part? See, Crowley's dead, Kelly's dead, Cass.
We tried something that we've never done before. So for those of you who heard me tell the story, bear with me. It was a car. So I was free driving the Impala. Jared's in the front seat. And then there's another vehicle with a massive camera crane attached to its roof that is driving around us with the crane swinging in the arm and the camera. There's like technicians all inside the car. There's a focus puller, there's a crane operator, there's the camera operator, there's the DP, there's the driver, the sound mixer, and we're on a very small 2-lane highway. And I'm driving, trying to keep it at a consistent pace so that this camera car can roam around me and behind and move. And
To be more specific, we're not on any 2-lane highway like I'm in the middle of nowhere. We're on the old highway that went from Vancouver to Whistler that they abandoned to build the new one because it was too dangerous, too many blind corners.
So to the right,
the original was
like
highway,
just like cliff to death, and then to the left was a wall, like a mountain basically, where the new highway
where they built a better highway for the Olympics.
So there was no room for error, and the road is going like this and like this. Oh yeah.
So they locked it up. We have people on this end. We drove for what, half a mile? We have people a mile down the road, cops.
Stopping getting through traffic.
Stopping traffic until we get safe, and vice versa. And sure enough, come around a blind corner.
Here's a truck.
Here's a pickup truck.
Just some road truck that made it through the lockup.
Directly at us, in the same lane, because we're now in this lane because the camera's filming my coverage or whatever it is.
So anyway, I'm dealing with all of this and trying to act and remember my lines.
And poor Jared is just having a hard time remembering how to act. Literally seated, just sitting in the front seat, staring out the window going, what was my line? I've got a camera 5 inches from my fender, and I'm trying to contain a speed of like 25 miles an hour while I'm going up and down hills, which is not easy. Never done this before either. First time in 13 years that we've ever worked with this stunt car. Genius over here, can't remember his lines.
Son of a bitch.
It's about to teach you that in Latin class, didn't they?
It's hard to remember your lines when you're in sincere mortal fear.
Yeah, I was too. I didn't know what I was doing. Thanks, man.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Right. Come on.
You know what? You're awesome.
Thanks. You too, I guess.